Hi, folks. Thanks for joining. We'll give everyone a minute or so to sign on, as we've had a few just kind of as we're sitting here. So let's we'll wait a minute, and I can maybe give a little bit of intro background as people sign in. So I'm Sam Bogosh, CEO of Axel AI, and we're going to be discussing and demoing our new ascribe.ai product with Dropbox integration. So with that, I will go on pause for the next minute, and then we'll start up at 3 past the hour. Thanks very much. Also, this is going to get recorded. There is a place for you to type in questions, but also chat. So I would suggest using the Q&A section, if at all possible, and then we can answer your questions possibly while the demo is underway, but certainly at the end of it. And this is not going to be one of these hour-long webinars. We're figuring probably a half hour at most, including Q&A. Though obviously, if there are more questions, we are happy to entertain those and stay longer. So thanks again, and we'll be right back with you in a minute or so. Okay, let's get started. So I'm Sam Bogosh, CEO of Axel AI, and with me I have Patrice Gutebel, who's our VP of Product Management, and Katie Scott, who's our VP of Operations. And we are delighted to be talking about our new partnership with Dropbox and the ascribe.ai application with integrated Dropbox support. This is a big step for us and for Dropbox. They haven't really done anything like this before, which is partner with a handful of companies in the media space to focus on the needs of the media and entertainment market. So we're thrilled to be part of that short list of partners, and are super excited to see what's possible with Dropbox as we move forward. We figure this is just the start of what should be a really beneficial relationship, especially for customers who are looking to use Dropbox for more and more media intensive purposes. So maybe I'll just give a short bit of background before we dive into the presentation part. For those who don't know us, Axel is a software company based in Boston. We've been around for 8 years, or just short of 8 years. Patrice and I co-founded the company, and Katie joined soon after. And what we've been doing over this time is building a customer base for our media management product, which is called Axel AI 2020 today. That is, it's a tool for small and mid-sized teams who have a lot of content and need to tag and search and catalog their material, and also access it remotely, which is a huge opportunity with the current need for distancing under COVID. So with so many people working from home, this idea of being able to access your material through a browser is obviously very relevant. And so as we've developed that, we've come out with 2 additional products. The first was in 2018 called Connector, which is a workflow tool, and that lets you build custom workflows graphically for the media industry, of course. And then late last year, we came out with the ascribe.ai, initially as a Premiere panel for Mac and PC. And what this lets you do is get transcripts for your content at a very low cost and with almost no cost to get started. Essentially, it's free to start with 1 hour of transcription, and then you just pay as you go after that, either with a monthly subscription or paying by number of hours. And that's turned out to be a big hit for us. It's our first kind of single user product, something that freelancers or individual shooters or editors can just download and use. So as we were discussing the possibilities with Dropbox, the idea of doing something more like a full Ascribe app that didn't even need Premiere necessarily, but could just run on a Mac or Windows machine and connect up to Dropbox and do the same type of low-cost transcription was really attractive. So that's what we ended up developing, and there's been a ton of work on this in the last few months, and we're delighted that it was kind of ready to go at launch. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Patrice, our VP of Products, who's going to show you what it is and how it works.
Thank you, Sam, and welcome everybody. Excited to see you here. And let me show you about Ascribe. So I am going to do a demo on a Mac, but Ascribe is available both on Mac and PC. So the same feature that we are going to see on this Mac version are also available in Windows. So the first thing you will see when you launch the app will be a quick description of what the app is about. On the left side, you will see where the file that you have transcribed appears. The middle is where you do the create the queue of files that will be transcribed, and you will find the transcript on the right side where you can edit. The first thing you need to do is actually register to the app. So you need to create a token that will allow you to connect to our actual speech module. Now, you can register and create an account, but since I already registered, it's automatically logged in. And this is what you will see. When you register, you will have 60 minutes included. No credit card needed, nothing. You will need to create an API token, which you can do once you have validated your email address. At a later time, if you need more minutes, you can sign up for monthly subscriptions, starting at just $150 minutes, sorry, for a little bit less than $5 a month. The features are that you get X minutes, the minutes roll over, they never expire, and you can cancel at any time your monthly subscription. No penalty, nothing, but you will still keep your minutes. And of course, the more I will sign up for, so if I go for 1,200 minutes or 2,400 minutes, the less it is actually going to cost us per hour of footage transcribed. And of course, if you need to, or if you prefer to do that rather than signing up for a monthly subscription, you can also buy blocks of minutes, which again will never expire. They can be tagged on a new subscription, or you can just buy as you need. Moving on, I am going to create my API token. And I just give it any name I want. I'm just going to call it Ascribe Webinar. And here we go, pressing Enter or OK, I will have the token created. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. One thing to note is once I close this window, I will not be able to see the token anymore. Nothing will stop me from creating new ones, canceling. You can give the same token to multiple people or create different tokens for everybody, for different people. I am going to jump back to the app. Now this window opens automatically when I try to register. This is where I will enter the API validation key. If it does not appear when you try to register, it will be available under here, the user menu at the top right. Pressing OK, here I am connected to my account with my 60 minutes, ready to go. You can go between dark or light mode. You can choose a default language. And of course, you can go in and add more minutes if you need to. Left side, I can easily see the videos that I have transcribed. And here is a webinar, and you will see, again, the transcription available on the right side. You can filter the transcript right here. So I can actually enter doing, for example, and you will see that they will start to actually show me only elements that exist in the transcript. I can, of course, edit the transcript, and I can play a different playback speed, so I never have to pause the video or anything while I edit the transcript. And in the end, I can also export my transcript. So now that the transcript is ready, let's export this in different formats. You can choose. SRT is the default, the standard subtitling file format. ITT will be iTunes, ideal to bring it within Final Cut Pro 10. And you have TXT with or without timecode. So if I wanted to export this webinar transcript, I'm just going to call it webinar in my desktop without the timecodes. I'm going to save it, and it is here in my desktop. This is what it looks like. I have my whole transcript. It is also worth noting that on the left side here, everything is organized by date, but I can also search based on what is being said, the transcript or the file name. So I can easily find, for example, If I do, for nothing, so let's do actually a CEO. We did not find it. So not the file name, let's do the transcript. That would be much helpful. Axel, and now it will find here that I have this file with the word Axel. Double clicking, you will see that we are doing some tests from Axel.
So this is Neil Blake again for Axel.
And let's see actually how do I get the transcript going now. So the middle part here is the cue. And I'm going to take again this GoPro file. And the reason I do that is simply to actually go fast. Even though we are starting the transcription process as the file is being uploaded to the server, let's actually keep it to a reasonable amount of time for the folks here attending. So now that I have this file added to the queue, I can go in and add more files if I wanted to. I decide which language I want to process. This is our colleague Neil Blake, who represents Axel in the UK. I will hit transcribe. Exporting the audio file, and we are doing the transcription. Once the audio file has been exported, we are sending it over to be analyzed, and we will get the transcription back. And whenever it is done, it is going to be added here back to the organized by dates. May 15, GoPro2.mov, and you will have the file.
And we'll do it.
Now, today is also about how we can do it in the cloud. So I showed you locally, but we are also partnered with Dropbox. And I can easily sign up to my Dropbox account here, already signed in, and I will authorize the Ascribe app to access Dropbox. And here we go, successfully logged in. And I will have access to my Dropbox file here. So we have a dedicated folder inside Dropbox. I will see the file. I have currently 3 files. Now, this is actually the cool part about having Dropbox is, first of all, these files are in the cloud. They are not in my storage, but I can still go in and play the video and have transcripts that have been transcribed.
Demonstration of how we would use Axel Pulse in a news gathering environment. We're here at the
Just to actually also show you, we have the closed captioning here available. Moving on. So this is streaming straight from Dropbox. I do not need to have the file. So I can have files that I share with other people where I will certainly be able to transcribe. The second part of the cool aspect is you see how here I do not have a transcript, but I have a transcription option. Well, I do not need to create the audio file anymore. And this is actually key for very large files. We are going to stream directly from Dropbox into a server to be analyzed. And we just wait for the results. And whenever the results come back, we will have the transcript not only saved for this video, but also in our Dropbox account, which means I can go grab it in any other computer who run the scribes who have access to the same account. And here we have the transcript happening. And again, there is no export needed. It's happening directly on the cloud. And this has been a presentation of Ascribe. Same feature available on PC. Transcript, search on a transcript and edit. Find your files quickly of what its name or what is being said. And you can also have your files in Dropbox being transcribed. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Sam and see if we have any questions. Thanks a lot, everybody.
So it looks like we have no questions so far, but you know, this is not.
Came in, Sam.
Yes.
One just came in. So
cool.
how fast is the transcription? This is from Joe. How fast is the transcription? Very good question. So basically the transcription, it depends on your internet speed, because as soon as the audio file is being exported, then the transcription will happen based on the upload speed, because we start as soon as we receive the AAC file or the audio file, we start to process it before the upload finishes. And when the upload finishes, we wrap up and send the result back. So it depends on your internet speed. Regarding the Dropbox aspect, it is all about the length of the video. So we count roughly about 4x the speed in terms of getting the transcript back.
Actually, there are a couple more questions. So one is about, actually two folks have asked about whether this can run on premise. We do have an on-premise option. It is a whole different cost structure because you have to deploy a server with an NVIDIA GPU. And so there are significant kind of enterprise type costs to that. So you definitely can't just kind of pay as you go with the less than $2 per hour. But if you're at a large institution like a movie studio or TV broadcaster, and you have thousands of hours that you know you need to process, but you want to keep it entirely on premise, then in fact that can be a very good option. And of course, the security is quite a bit higher because the media never leaves your premises. Now, it's also worth noting that Ascribe doesn't keep the media long-term in the cloud, and then in fact, you know, in many cases, we're either sending a low-res proxy of the media or just the audio. So it's probably worth trading off the upfront cost commitment versus the extra security. But yes, that option is available. Plans for future languages, it's a little early, but we're certainly looking at several. One, for instance, is Japanese that's come up, and certainly, you know, a number of Asian languages, including Chinese. There are also a number of Western languages that we don't cover yet. So most of our focus has been on English speakers and English speaking countries at the moment. But obviously, as this rolls out, we'll have additional languages and countries that we hope to cover. Patrice, one question is, will this work with all kinds of audio files? And how's the accuracy? What kind of audio and video works best?
Yeah, very good question, actually. So audio files, most of them, you know, ASC, MP3, WAV, M4A, all of that is going to work. Actually, we tested with my wife on a Zoom meeting that she had with the organization, and needed to get the transcript, and we used the M4A, and that was done. And the accuracy of that, so it actually depends on a lot of different things. Typically, you can find the accuracy to be 90-95%, especially true in English. We have heard that foreign languages may be a little bit lower. We are still evaluating and improving on that. But there are multiple factors that will cause the accuracy to drop, because the funny thing is, actually, when you hear speech to text, you assume that the computer is listening and then spitting out the word, which is true, but how do you do it in a binary world? Like a computer, when you have all 1 and zeros, it's by pictures. That's why you need a strong GPU that Sam mentioned earlier, if you want the on-premise. Basically, the computer is going to learn the word based on the waveform that you have for each word. And that's what it's going to compare whatever we pass at the audio to its knowledge to spit out the text. And if you have somebody like me, unfortunately, who have a strong accent, the accuracy is going to drop, because I would distort based on how I accentuate the words. My waveform is going to be distorted compared to what the computer will know. Same thing with background noise. If you have a jackhammer behind me, it is obviously going to distort also the waveform. And this is why quiet setting with a microphone, you're going to have 95% accuracy. Street interviews and stuff like that, you may actually drop it to what, 80-85%, but it's still actually giving you a strong foundation to get started. Other things, the accuracy will not be that good, will be different jargons and names. But otherwise, we are looking at improving again. We are looking at adding some sort of dictionary, so I can add different words that I'm sure they will appear in the video to help the accuracy with that. And of course, you know, again, you have 90% of the work already done, and you can easily go in, edit, export, and have your closed captioning or search and find whatever you need to be found based on what is being said.
Thanks, Patrice. And there was one other question here from Jeff. What operating systems can the Ascribe AI app run in? So on the Mac, it is you know, either Mojave or Catalina. We weren't able to support earlier versions of Mac OS, but I don't think that should be too big of a problem. And for Windows, it's Windows 10.
knowing that I had some preliminary tests on Windows 8, but it's so ancient now that I'm not expecting a lot of people are still using Windows 8.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Outside chance it will work on Windows 8, but not heavily tested.
Exactly.
All right, well, excellent questions, actually. Are there any more questions that we can answer? We've still got a few more minutes, or we can give folks their time back. And one thing, so we've got our email addresses up here. Please feel free to reach out to us. And also, if you're interested in, if you have any broader questions about metadata and media management, one of our ideas with Ascribe is, of course, once people get used to having these transcripts, they'll want to start searching them across a large number of, and that's where our Axle AI 2020 product comes in. And then some of the automated workflows that people want to build around that are really best solved with connectors. So it's kind of a family of products, but obviously Ascribe is targeting this much wider use of anybody with a laptop. We're also very interested in other operating systems besides Mac OS and Windows. So things like the new iPad Pros and iPads generally are very interesting. So we're looking at the possibility of an iOS port. And then, of course, you know, a whole range of kind of Android mobile devices as well. So let us know if there are specific requests for where this could run. A final option would be like a cloud app where you just log in and push a file and get back a file into a browser-based UI. So lots of possibilities on where to go with this. But right now, as you can probably tell, we've got, you know, a full plate with the 1.0 versions of Mac and Windows, and we'll probably spend the next few months just fine-tuning those, as well as integrating them more, not only into the Dropbox environment, but in with our other applications. So with that, unless there are additional questions or comments, I think we will call it a session. But again, thanks for the excellent questions and turnout, and look forward to hearing further from you. And as Patrice pointed out, you can just go to the ascribe.ai site, download either the Mac or Windows app, and get the free hour to get started from the portal. So happy transcription, and look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you very much, guys.